The Conjuring universe features many terrifying scenes to keep viewers up at night. The franchise loosely follows the real exploits of Ed and Lorraine Warren, along with the demonic entities they or their colleagues have encountered as paranormal investigators. Here are my 10 scariest moments in the Conjuring universe. At 10, The Girl in the Swinging Door. Annabelle, 2014. One standout moment involves the girl in the swinging door, delivering a heart-stopping jump scare for young mother, Mia. A sudden encounter with a little girl lures her into her arts and crafts room. Startled, Mia turns to find the girl watching from across the hall. As the door slowly closes, the girl races towards Mia. When the girl reaches the shut door, she transforms into the disciple of the Ram intruder from Mia's past. This scene expertly manipulates expectations by packaging an unsettling encounter with the ghost of a little girl, only to reveal the monster for what it really is after it's too late for Mia to flee. At 9, The Baby Carriage and the Elevator Won't Close. Annabelle, 2014. When Mia goes searching through storage in her apartment's basement, she hears crying coming from a mysterious baby carriage only to be trapped when she tries to flee back up the elevator. The elevator affords her only temporary safety as the doors continue to reopen and expose her to the dark of the basement. Unable to wait for the elevator to fix itself, she bolts for the stairwell across the room only to then be chased by a demon on the way back to her apartment. Mia becomes the proverbial fish in a barrel by transforming what should be the protection of an enclosed elevator into a dead end. At 8, The Toy Gun and the Unseen Monster. Annabelle, Creation, 2017. By the time the scene with the toy gun and the unseen monster rolls around, the orphans who have come to live at the Mullins house have already experienced several paranormal events. One night, one of the young orphans, Linda, sits in her room facing the dark hallway armed with a toy gun for protection. Tension escalates as she begins hearing an unknown creature somewhere out in the din. The creature then charges at the terrified girl, but when it reaches the doorway, it fails to emerge into the light. The scene teases the monster's appearance, but leaves its character even more afraid of the things they can't see. At 7, Arne kills Bruno. The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, 2021. In one of the more recent installments of the Conjuring franchise, tension escalates by virtue of knowing from the very beginning that a possessed Arne was going to go on a murdering spree at some point in the film. It was a certainty. Most horror movies feature a hidden time bomb, when it's expected that horrible things will eventually crescendo into a terrifying climax for the plot. In this case, the time bomb is placed front and center, forcing the audience to dread the imminent downfall of an increasingly likable character. As Arne's possession reaches its zenith, he charges on all fours at a terrified Bruno sprawled on the ground. At 6, The Elevator and the Staircase. Annabelle, Creation, 2017. Since the young orphan, Janice, is disabled with polio, she's forced to use the house's stair lift as she's pursued by a demonic entity. The seat takes an agonizingly long time to operate. To make matters worse, it stutters on the way down, only to reverse midway with the now trapped Janice. Of all the demonic attacks featured in the Conjuring universe, this might be the most egregious and hardest to watch. That said, it succeeds in developing tension by dangling an escape in front of the panicked Janice only to force her to wait for the attack when she becomes trapped. At 5, The Man in the TV. The Conjuring 2, 2016. Bill Wilkins' ghost terrorizes the Lutz family, particularly their youngest daughter, Janet, and in one scene, he appears in the reflection of their television. By this time, Janet's already experienced several eerie events, but it's still early enough in the film that the characters aren't certain it's legitimate paranormal activity. The scene would be unsettling enough, but when Wilkins' appearance behind Janet shouting that the house belongs to him, it leaves her little room to believe it's anything other than a malevolent ghost. The Conjuring 2 is arguably the best in the franchise, and Bill Wilkins does almost all of the film's spooky heavy lifting. At 4, Lorraine falls to the basement. The Conjuring, 2013. Lorraine Warren falls through the floor to the basement after exploring a hidden cubby in the wall of the Perron family's farmhouse. This scene is chilling when she sees the ghost of the previous tenant behind her through the mirror of a music box. Even worse, when Lorraine puts the music box down, the ghost appears right in front of her. The fact that it lands her in the basement is particularly terrifying because so many of the house's scariest events take place there. At 3, Annabelle Under the Covers. Annabelle Comes Home, 2019. The Warrens' daughter, Judy, is attacked by Annabelle while trying to fall asleep in her bedroom. She becomes the focal point of a series of paranormal events at home after local kids unleash all the haunted artifacts normally under lock and key in their house. As the girl lies in bed, she begins hearing disturbing noises in her room, culminating in the Annabelle doll appearing under her covers with her. While Annabelle Comes Home is probably one of the weakest installments in the franchise, the monster appearing under the covers is an effective technique for robbing its characters of their sense of security. At 2, The Haunted TV. Annabelle Comes Home, 2019. The Haunted TV is yet another artifact protected by the Warrens in their paranormal museum. Like most of the artifacts that come to life in Annabelle Comes Home, little is known about the TV. When the teenager, Daniela, becomes trapped in the museum, the TV begins showing her the future, only just a few seconds ahead of when they unfold in real time. Why she chooses to sit in a dark room filled with the creepiest items in the Conjuring universe behind her is anyone's guess. But the premise of a television that could potentially show its viewer their own gruesome death is more than a little unsettling. At 1, Hide and Clap in the Stairwell. The Conjuring, 2013. The hide and clap in the stairwell scene continues to be one of the scariest scenes in the entire Conjuring franchise. The scene is expertly set up earlier in the film when Carolyn is cajoled into playing the aforementioned game with her daughter, culminating in the disturbing idea that she'd been playing with a ghost while her daughter was hiding elsewhere. When Carolyn is violently shoved down the basement stairs later in the film, she scrambles back up the steps only to discover she's been locked in. As she's using a match to illuminate the landing since the lights had gone out, ghostly hands appear from the shadows to clap behind her. It's arguably the most iconic jump scare in the Conjuring universe, as well as one of the most iconic in modern horror. Leave a comment for your scariest moments in the Conjuring universe.